Right, so for the first part of a new sort of series, what we're going to do is every time we go out, we're going to have a little chat about our favourite rigs, our preferred rigs for X type of fishing, you know what I mean, whatever it may be at that time of year, to try and keep it applicable so you lovely lot can have a little go. I feel like Andy then, lovely, I'm robbing your catchphrase again, and lovely lot. But yeah, so for me, what we're out in now, we are out 1st of October, and that signals for me the start of delicateness, when a bit of finesse comes into it, and especially for my favouriteest in the world, hard pellet fishing, I'm all into things being perfect at this time of year, and nice, technical, perfectly presented rigs. That's what it's all about for me. This is the best time of year when, do you know what I mean, you've got to think about it a bit more, you've got to do things really right, and your results hopefully show from it. So what I'm going to talk you through is me fabled sort of girly-ish rig that I've labelled it for many, many years, which is probably a bit wrong, but it's me delicate, slow-falling type rig that I use for me hard pellet fishing for when they're moody, you know what I mean, when they're intercepting baits off bottom, when there's not a lot of fish in your peg, when you've got to work for every single bite that's in your peg. This is when this rig comes into it. I say it is definitely for me, it is me absolutist, favouriteest rig in the world. And I'm going to talk through job lot, do you know what I mean, what I'd normally do. So today we're at a typical Snake Lake, which is where I'm going to use this type of rig. It's always a rig for fishing on slopes, normally in somewhere from 2.5 to 4.5 foot. For targeting F1s, odd carp, I mean, this sort of place, your partridges, your tunnel barns, your heron brush, cudmores, that sort of venue that suits perfectly to getting lots of bites off pretty much everything, and it's pretty much based around using 4mm pellets. I mean, when I'm doing this, I'm always going to feed micros or 4mm pellets with a hard 4mm pellet on hook. That's my go-to, my favourite way of fishing, without a doubt. So first off, what are we going to talk about first? Let's talk, before we even touch on rig, I'm going to go on to elastics quickly. Yeah, and with the rig being quite delicate, I mean, the components, just briefly, of the lines, is I've still got a nice positive main line. I've got a 16 main line, which I've dropped down slightly because I've got a nice, more delicate float on. And in this case today, it's not too bad, so I've got 0.12 hook length on. But that hook length could be anywhere 0.12 or 0.10. It'd be one or the other, depending how many carp or how rubbish the fishing is. And I need to get some bites. And for me, the only elastic I'd match with this rig when I'm fishing for these sort of weights and these type of fish is my red slick, which is, what am I going to say that one is, Rich? 10 to 12. I've got that right. That's 10 to 12.
I don't know.
It is right. Trust me, 10 to 12. I'm rubbish with numbers. The red one. But yeah, no, 10 to 12 slick. In me long kit. I'm a fan of long kits for this type of fishing. I mean, that's me always chosen elastic. As I said, 0.16 to 0.12 in this case, main line. But then we're on to me floats. Yeah, me floats are me ever faithful, the bestest floats in the world, and me Tim Moore's 1.5 carbon slims. Yeah, I've dropped down on my bristle size. I'm not on the 2mm bristles I was using anymore in the summer, because with a 2mm bristle, it's nigh on impossible, or very, very difficult anyway, with a 2mm hollow bristle, to get a 4mm pellet to register on it, which is very, very, very important for what I'm trying to achieve. Whereas by dropping down to a 1.5mm bristle, both it creates a bit more sensitivity, I see a few more bites, and there's less resistance to them fish, meaning my bites are a little bit better. But most importantly, I can see my 4mm pellet. When I lay it on them slopes, which is the areas I'm targeting with this rig, by having the 1.5mm bristle, I can see very, very easily whether my pellet's off bottom and my float sits lower, whether I've gone perfect and it sits just right, or whether it's a little bit too far up the slope and I get a bit too much bristle showing. You can read so clearly, as long as the weather's quite nice, as long as it's not too windy, you can read really clearly what your pellet's doing and whether you're in the right place or not, which it's unbelievable the difference it can make. You can literally be 2 inches out further up the slope and not see any bites. I don't believe you don't get any bites, but I believe that little bit of a slack line that can rate going too far up, you just don't see anything going on. It's crazy, but getting it perfect, you see everything that goes on, and that puts more fish in my net, and all that's all down to me correct positioning, but most importantly, that 1.5mm bristle that shows me bites up. So in this case, it's a carbon stem float, because I'm fishing it pretty much through the water. I'm having a nice slow fall that a good percentage of my fish, probably 30–40% of my fish, if not more, 50%, are coming either on the settle or most likely just after it's settled. So my bait's actually looking a bit more natural falling through the water instead of whizzing down as it would with me conventional sort of heavily shotted stability rigs that I use in the summer when I'm fishing over a trap. I mean, now it's getting a little bit colder, the fish are a bit more reluctant to feed. You sort of have to bring that element of visibility into it, so you catch the attention as your bait's coming through, and you catch a few more fish because of it. I mean, it's not a game changer that you're going to catch £100 compared to nothing on another rig, but it'll catch me that 1, 2, 10 more fish that puts me ahead of the next bloke, just because my rig's catching more fish that are feeding in different ways, sort of. So shotting for it, which is probably the main thing that's really, really simple, it's probably the key point. In fact, I'm going to start from the bottom onwards. I've got a 4-inch hook length. In fact, let's leave shotting till last. I've got a little 4-inch hook length on a Vogue 12, and my hooks at the minute, I'm swapped to my size 18 MTX 6s. So our boss Sean, our wonderful designer at Matrix, has been playing about with hooks, driving me mad, sending me all sorts of prototypes all summer that I've both liked and not liked and all sorts, but his final products are beautiful for this. Yeah, for in the MCX 6s in the 18, for me, I believe it's created the perfect 4mm pellet hook. Yeah, and then a 16's a bit smaller. You often find with types of hooks, whether it's whatever company make them, a size 18 with one company is completely different to a size 18 in another company and whatever. So Sean's paid a lot of detail into doing these, to making them a 6mm sort of right for a 6mm, a 16 right for a 6mm pellet, a 4mm right for a size 18. They just look spot on. I mean, and in this case, for my 4mm Coppens pellets that I'm mostly going to use, me Catalyst pellets and spot fin, they're the perfect sort of size hook for what I want to present my bait on. It just looks right. Yeah, it's a nice light wire gauge that doesn't pull my pellet down too quick, so it just looks sexy. I mean, they're the perfect F1 hook. I mean, not ideal for loads of big ones, but that's not what I'm fishing it for anyway. It's right for what I want it to do. So shotting, this is the little weird bit, in that I've got a mix of shot and stopped on my rig, because I do think it makes a little bit of a difference. And in the bottom, what you're going to give me there, Rich, bottom 12 to 18 inches, depending on the depth. Like in this case, I'm set at about 3.5 foot with a 4x12 rig. And in the bottom sort of 1.5 foot, I've just got 3 number 12 stops. So they barely help with the sink of the bait at all. I mean, the bait's going to sink very naturally. All the 3 number 12s do is pretty much break the tension on the line. I mean, get it below the surface and get it going down in a bit of an arc to keep it a bit tighter than what it would if it was just slack altogether. And then above that, I've got 6 number 10 shots spread through my entire rig. Yeah, so there's very little stability on that rig. Yeah, there's nothing down the bottom end holding it in place as if you're fishing over a pile. But what there's a lot of sexiness that allows my bait to sink in the right way. So what I'm looking at is to get my bait to be incorporated into my shotting, to show up on my bristle. So what I can do is lower it into that slope, which it'll fall beautifully, nice and slowly, very, very naturally into the slope, hopefully in conjunction with me loose feed or just after or whenever I want it. But at the same time, it'll hold it there nicely, show up. It doesn't have the stability what a heavily shotted rig may have, but what it does do, it catches me that massive percentage of fish on the way in, looks sexy, and tells me that I'm in exactly the right place. As long as I'm lowering it in, I can tell what my bristle's doing, and I understand whether I'm on the bottom, laid on, or just perfect. So for me, without a doubt, that is my, if I could pick one rig to use for the rest of my life, that would definitely be the baby, and it has caught me a lot of fish in the past. So hopefully have a little play with that, and it may do the same for yourselves.